different ways to compete, to challenge yourself mentally, and that's even so, even as a player, going all the way back, those are some of the things that always intrigued me, that I found, week to week, day to day, challenge in studying film, and trying to prepare the best. And those are the things that we try to breed into our players and try to build within our program, and not only for the sake of football, but for whatever career path, whatever field that our players go into down the road. You're going to separate yourself by how you work, how you prepare yourself, and that's a huge part of our program. I think Coach does an unbelievable job with that, and that's one of the things that drew me to Oregon.
And then transitioning that out to the field, do you enjoy the teaching part, the hands-on teaching part in practice?
There's no question. I mean, that's the fun part about it. You get to run around and go out there. I never played in the Rose Bowl, but I'm going to get to practice in Rose Bowl and run around. I think a lot of our coaches do that. I would say that our coaches are extremely active at practice, moving around in drills, drill to drill, and within the drills with our players. And in the training process as well. It's not only during the season, but in fall camp, spring ball. We're out there and running around. We're all trying to do it together. And being able to take the stuff from the classroom to the field is a huge challenge. And sometimes being able to be right there with the players in the middle of it all and helping them communicate and make those adjustments through to build that confidence they need to be able to do it on their own when the time comes.
What can you say about Troy Dye's leadership skills?
So Troy is his personality is, he'll light up the room when he walks in. He's got that way about himself, and for his ability to lead this group when it's time to work, whether it be in the weight room, whether it be in meetings or whether it be on the practice field, when it's time for Troy to go, Troy goes. And that right there, we've been able to get to where we are today with great leaders like Troy, and obviously we're going to continue to need that leadership as we prepare for the biggest challenge of the year.
His halftime speech at Cal, what kind of impact do you think that had? Was it overblown, or do you think?
No, I think when Troy speaks, guys listen. Troy's played a lot of football here. Troy's done a lot of good things at the university. I think leaders number one have to have credibility because of how they do things and how they work. And obviously Troy's credibility is high, and that speaks to what he's done. And again, we're going to need that here as we go through. And that was conversations leading up to this, and making sure. I think Coach does an unbelievable job with messaging and getting the mentality of the program right, and that's going to be a huge factor for us in our prep.
This has been one of the best defenses in the country. What are you most pleased of when you showed up in spring ball till now, just the development that the staff and these players have had on defense?
Everybody's willingness to work really, really hard and not settle for absolutely for our best, and our best is our best. And the hard thing about that is doing it every single day, and we've become more consistent with that, as we've grown. And that's one area, that Coach asked for us to become more consistent, just in how we prep, how we work, our mentality every day. And it is the players, that's who go out on the field and play. But I would say this too, it always starts with the coaches, and the coaching staff has done a great job all the way around on both sides of the ball and special teams as well.
When you showed up, the seniors and the redshirt juniors, they've had 3 or 4 defensive coordinators. How do you get that buy-in as the new guy to get this group to where they're at now?
You've got to build relationships, and you got to make them feel confident about what they're doing, and get them to understand the why and the how. And obviously when guys have had multiple coordinators, position coaches, that's really hard. Coming from me, not only is coordinating a defense, but going into a position room where guys have had 3 position coaches, and that's really, really hard. We hold them to a really high standard, but at the same time, there's an understanding behind it all too, what these guys have gone through. And, to a level that you've got to have some sympathy in how you teach and how they're getting things, because they have been through a few different coordinators. I would say this again, building those relationships and holding them to a really high standard is the key.
Brady mentioned that spring ball, when he showed up, he was 4th-string safety. Just what have you seen from him and his climb of where he is now?
Right.
He said, I'm starting in the Rose Bowl, and I was 4th string going into the spring season. What have you seen from him?
Just his growth in terms of the understanding of the defense. The better you understand the defense, the better you understand how to play to your strengths and your weaknesses and offset your weaknesses. And I think for everybody, that and the growth that we've had, again, I think that's what we're always trying to build towards. You've got to understand what you're doing and how you're doing it and what you're trying to take away. And then, we always talk about the 111, then my 111. How am I going to play to my strengths to execute this scheme? And, how am I going to be the best at my weaknesses as well, based on who I've got to play against in the different scenarios. Yeah, no problem.
Which I know he was a highly rated recruit and a guy that you really wanted. But what were the moments early on that you could tell that Kayvon was going to be somebody that could contribute this season?
When he got off the ball the first time, the pass rush. I mean, his get off is pretty unique, and his natural ability. And so, as always, it's just about refining it, building it, growing it, developing it. Everybody's unique, especially when it comes to the pass rush, and everybody's different. And so finding out what works best for him may be different for what works for others. And so just being able to study his movements, see, the things that he feels comfortable with, and then working with him, each and every week to build on those.
He mentioned that in the first half of the season he was playing a little more timid. Did you see that moment where maybe the light turned on for him to just be more aggressive?
No question. I think it's getting comfortable and building the confidence to play fast, technically sound, downs 1 through 4 in all situations needed. And for any freshman coming in and having to learn a new playbook, which before you even can learn the playbook, you got to learn the fundamentals and the techniques, and being able to master those is really when it took off for him. The college game is different than the high school game. You can't just line up and go.
Just athleticism. And
There's no question. I think when he bought into that and understood truly what that meant, that's when he took off. And we'll continue to progress. As long as we continue to stay on that path of understanding how to continue to develop within the game. Yeah, no problem.
One of the things a lot of your players have said is that this
Oh, boy.
year, I know, you're right, it's a good
They
thing.
say a lot of things.
They said that
On the way over here, we were saying a lot of things.
Oh, no.
The
What
jokes
were
were
you
getting,
saying?
no, we had to talk about that. That's why I said, oh boy, the jokes were already getting fired at each other
Well,
bright
this
and
was
early
all
on the way
good.
over here.
This was good stuff. They were
Good.
saying that football became fun again
Yeah.
this spring, and that, Troy said the light came back into his eyes this season. What is it that you did that caused football to be fun again for these guys?
You know what? This job is very demanding, whether you're a coach or you're a player, and it becomes that sometimes, right? But trying to keep it from becoming that too much, and making it more about the development of everybody and the growth. As coaches, these guys have helped me grow in so many different ways, and that's just not interview, talk, coach, speaker, whatever. These guys have helped me grow in so many different ways, and being able to work together within the classroom settings, build relationships where we can be demanding. They're demanding on me. They expect, and they know what it looks like now. They're demanding on us as coaches, and we're demanding on them. And when we get on the practice field, it's very much so the same way. We work, we compete together, we have fun on the practice field, but it's very hard now too. They'll tell you there's some things on the practice field they're not very fond of as well, but those things as well we try to do with them on the field as much as our older bodies allow us to. But it's been a blessing. The guys that have been here for a while have been through a few different coordinators, and obviously with that comes position coaches and learning. And I think as a coach and as a teacher, you've got to be aware of those things, and you've got to have an understanding, and you do have to have a level of compassion for that, but at the same time, never sacrifice the standard that needs to be held to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish.
How much has being able to have fun correlated to the success you guys are about to play in the Rose Bowl?
Yes, there's no question. And you look back, and it's gone so fast, but in the moment, it's a bunch of hard work that never goes fast, And so in those moments, you've got to keep it light. You've got to have fun. We start the morning off every morning saying good morning to each other bright and early because we're a morning operation, and just, trying to find ways to have fun with the guys, to change things up, to present things different ways to guys, trying to have fun with the takeaways and the different ideas and philosophies you use to keep things fresh, to keep guys engaged. I think that's one of the biggest things is finding ways to be engaged, you know, and so that it's not the same all the time.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Coach.
you.